All right. Welcome to another episode of Jeep Torque. And today I'm going to focus on one of the annoying issues that I've run into the Jeep for having it over 10 years now, close to 10 years. And my Jeep, I just want to say off the bat, is a 2017 JK Wrangler, the Chief Edition. And it's got the white top with the white stripes and it's a rhino color. I believe they only made around 3,300 of these out there, and it came in a tan color, came in the Rhino, which is what I have, and then this really kind of a electric blue color. So I was attracted to it right away when I saw it at the dealership. I wish it would have came with some of the features that the Rubicon had, which is the lockers in the front and the back. Just a few more things like a heavier front end. So I had to replace all those things. So the one issue that constantly comes up with the 3.6 Pentastar, and this is going to be in the range of the 2012 to the 2017 year models with the 3.6 Pentastar. And the particular piece that I'm talking about, which is a real pain in the butt to get to if it's your first time doing it, you literally have to take apart the upper plenum and the lower plenum. Upper plenum being your intake, which goes out to your throttle body, which is that whole entire plastic piece that you'll see when you take that cover off and you're changing your oil filter. So you have to remove that whole piece. You have to remove the lower plenum to get to this particular item that I'm talking about. And inside the 3.6s, you'll have three cylinders on each side. And then in the middle is what's known as the cavity. And then it's your engine block there. So you essentially need to get to that middle piece in the cavity there. So what I'm referring to is your engine oil filter and cooler assembly. And for those that have had the particular years of 2012 to 2017 and dealing with the 3.6 Pentastar, probably know right away what I'm talking about. And typically you'll start to see a little bit of oil that runs underneath back towards your transmission. You'll get underneath and you'll see some oil kind of splattered back there. And the reason for that is this particular item will go in, will drop oil into that cavity. And as you're driving with the wind and everything coming in front of the Jeep, it pushes all that oil back and drips it down towards the transmission. So more than likely, if you see that, you start to see your engine go up in temperature, abnormal, hitting 228, 229. You're really not getting on it, and it's getting up there in the temperature. It's eating oil, it's eating radiator fluid. The first thing you want to do is get underneath and just take a look. And if you see any oil there, most likely you have a leak going on in your engine oil filter and cooler assembly. Here I'm showing you a typical one that you could order to replace, and this is your actual oil filter, which by the way is a poor design by Stellantis. Really, they should have never done this, and I'm going to get into something in a second that you could do, which I did, which is super helpful. So this particular piece again sits right in the middle of your engine and what we call the cavity. And underneath here, there's a bunch of little washers here, and there's actual coolant that'll run through this to keep that oil cool down, and then it just keeps filtering through the engine with the filter here. The filter filters that oil out, and then it also cools it down and sends it on its way. So really annoying. I've had to change this 4 times already on my Jeep, which is really frustrating. So this last install, I have to say, has lasted for a while. I opted to go with the Mishimoto all aluminum assembly, it's similar to this one here. So you could find it on the Mishimoto site, or you could find it on Extreme Terrain. You are going to pay a little bit of a premium. I would not replace it with a stock if you're going to do all that work, because the stock one is just all plastic. Just no point. I don't know why Stellantis decided to go with a plastic item. I guess for cost reasons during the manufacturing period, bill of materials, that type of deal. It's cheaper to go with the plastic. But really, in my opinion, when you have one of these modeled year Jeeps, definitely change this out. And if you're going to be in there to change this thing out, you might as well go ahead and change your spark plugs, or at least take a look at them. Take a look at your ignition coils, because you're going to have all this taken apart, your upper lower plenum. You might as well get in there and just check those as well, since you'll have all that open area to take a look at that. And that's exactly what I typically do. It's what I typically do when someone brings their Jeep to me. I recommend, hey, let me just take a look at your plugs, make sure everything's looking good there. We're going to be in there anyway, and we could change that out. The other thing that I want to touch on is this little piece here is your actual oil filter. So when you change the filter on the Jeeps, you're going to take this off here. And I think it's like a 22 millimeter on the socket. I forget, it's either 22 or 21. And you'll take this out, and then you have your filter that sits in there. The problem with this design is when you let the Jeep sit even overnight or for a couple of hours, the oil will completely drip down and out of this filter and down and out of your push rods and that whole upper assembly inside inside your engine and your heads there. And the problem with that is what they call a dry start. You'll start the engine and there's no oil there, and then it starts to wear down those push rods, and then you get that infamous or that famous ticking sound coming from the Jeep. And most likely it's because those rods aren't getting oiled enough, and you're getting this, you're getting the metal touching metal, and it'll start to burn out. So, or wear out, I should say. The best solution, and what I did right away, the first time I even changed this cooler assembly, I ended up going with something that's called a Baxter oil spin on adapter. And basically, this entire piece here will go and sit right inside here where your oil filter used to be. It's very easy to change out on your own. You could do this on your own, and it'll literally screw right into there. And basically, what this does is it'll keep the oil constantly. It takes a regular screw-on oil filter, like an old school filter is what you're going to use here, and it'll screw right onto this piece. And what that does, having one of those old school filters, it actually keeps the oil dripping and keeps it on that upper part of your engine, so you don't have what's called the dry start. So I highly, highly recommend that you install this on your Jeep. 100%, not hard to install at all. It has this little piece here, and what you do is every oil change, you just take an air compressor at around 30 psi, and you run it for around 30 to 40 seconds. It'll blow out all the oil from the filter that's here. So when you unscrew this, you don't make a big oily mess, right? It's the last thing you need is oil all over the top of your Jeep. So I highly recommend that if you're going to do some work and change this out here, get rid of that old filter system. It doesn't help. It's just not a good design. Now, as far as cooling down, yeah, I've noticed the temperature changes for sure. My Jeep used to run at 228, and I'm down in Southwest Florida. It's hot all the time. I'll go out and drive it in the trail. It gets even hotter. I'll get into another post where I actually adapted a external fan. I have an external transmission cooler. So I did a few things to the Jeep to keep it cooled down. I actually sometimes have it too cool where it'll trigger an engine light telling me, which is the P0128. And basically that's saying that the engine's too cool, if you could believe it or not. So it does work. When you do change this out, you will notice a decrease, definitely, I'd say like 5-6%. And then if you do some radiator adjustments and so on and so forth, I'll get into that into another video on some of the top things you could do to really keep that Jeep cool. But by far, this is probably one of the most annoying pieces that I wish Stellantis just up front would use a Baxter system here, or at least give you the option and go with the all aluminum assembly. So again, if you are going to change this, take a look at your spark plugs while you're in there, take a look at your ignition coils, and definitely don't just replace it with the original OEM plastic. So again, any questions, if you know, more than welcome to reach out to me at Mario at jeeptorque.com. Just shoot me an email there with some of your specs or some issues you're running into. And yeah, and I could answer the best that I can, and I'll be posting some recommendations on what I did and actual numbers and percentages that I see in the decrease in the temperature with my Jeep. So thank you, and see you on the next one.